Hello and welcome to User Spotlights. I'm Laura with ClickFunnels, and today I'm joined by Christian and Amel of GenTech Marketing, a seven-figure marketing agency established in 2016, where they specialize in running ads and high-ticket offers and building funnels for their clients. Welcome, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So to get started, tell me a little bit about your background and what brought you guys together to start this business.
I'll start that journey off since I initially founded GenTech in 2016, and the vision was to be the missing gap between our client's vision and actually achieving the goal, because both me and Christian had a lot of businesses that were failed. We did drop shipping, we did e-com, and we did a lot of different cool business things that you see on IG that everyone says, hey, get into this. And we realized that they all failed because we did not market our business. And I feel like for me in particular, it was a drop shipping where I started looking at Facebook ads. I was learning how to market. And I was like, okay, there's something in this. I don't want to do drop shipping, but I feel like I can use this skill and help other businesses. And kind of when COVID hit, there was a lot of fluctuation in the business industries. A lot of clients fell off. Christian had his own marketing company, and we merged in 2020. I kind of like to say that GenTech was reborn in 2020, where we really started scaling at that point.
Great. And what's your background? Were you both marketers before you decided to partner together?
So actually, funny enough, like neither of us actually studied marketing whatsoever in college or anything. We're both foreign. I'm Lebanese, Amel is Bosnian. You know, when you first come to the United States as a foreigner, your parents are all about you need to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or something like that. You know what I mean? And we both actually went down the medical route. Amel actually graduated nursing school and did full-on nursing. I wanted to go down the medical school route, but I'll be completely honest with you, I was way too in love with the business to actually go ahead and invest 18 hours a day into something else. So when I did graduate as a pre-med, that's when I went all in with Amel on GenTech.
Amazing. And what led you to ClickFunnels for using your business and creating funnels for your clients?
I'll dive deep into it a little bit. I know Christian utilizes it a little bit more, but ultimately speaking, we build out systems for our clients. So we try to find something that will eliminate all possible human error. So a lot of people think, okay, run Facebook ads and that's all I need, but there's literally 12 steps from someone seeing the ad to the conversion actually happening. And a big portion of that is actually the funnel and how do we disqualify people that aren't qualified. So a lot of people are trying to qualify leads. You'll get the traffic. The whole point is to disqualify so that your sales team or you, whoever's taking the call, isn't wasting time hopping on these meetings that are no-shows or are unqualified and so forth. So ClickFunnels was great for that middle step where we'll send the traffic, but we make them watch the VSL. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with whoever uses ClickFunnels, where we tell them, hey, exactly, if you fit this criteria, then go book a meeting. If you do not fit this criteria, do not book a meeting. But then even if they do click to the next step, we have a Calendly where we ask them a whole bunch of more questions where we're like, hey, do you fit this criteria? If you do not book the meeting. So I think it was really good for disqualifying leads that, if you guys are generating a lot of unqualified leads, I think the ClickFunnels is the best method to implement within the sales process.
Yeah, I find that really fascinating. And I feel like, especially with high ticket offers, the best thing you can do is find out how to say no rather than how to say yes, because you want to find the best customers and the best clients that are going after or willing to invest in the things that you're offering. So by disqualifying them, I think that's a really good way of putting it. So what types of funnels do you guys find are the most successful for you?
So when it comes down to GenTech, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a backstory just so you know how we got to this funnel. So it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. Honestly, we subscribed to ClickFunnels 3 times before we actually started seeing good results. And it's honestly not because of the software, but because of us as individuals. So me and Amel are huge on personal development. So we are big believers in order to build a better business, you need to build a better you first. And what we had before is kind of like shiny object syndrome. We saw everybody is getting the 2 Comma Club Award. So obviously we can book appointments with ClickFunnels. Let's get on ClickFunnels. We get on ClickFunnels, we build a funnel, we're too lazy at the end, and it doesn't end up working. We cancel before the 14th day trial is done. Obviously, and that's a lower level mindset, right? But then we kept coming back because we felt there was something there. We felt that it doesn't make sense for all these individuals that are the top of their field to be using the software and there to be nothing there. So the third time we came to ClickFunnels, we were determined. We were like, we're going to do ClickFunnels for the next 3 years and we're going to figure it out, And that was our objective. It was like, we're not going to do it for 14 days. We're not going to do it for a month. We're not going to do it for 3 months. We're going to do it for 3 years and we're going to figure it out. And that's when we landed on our book a call funnel, right? We obviously, there is so much information out there that you don't really know what is the thing that is going to work for you. Obviously, we were talking about an ebook funnel, right? A free plus shipping funnel, building your list funnel. But that logistically did not make sense for us at the time. We wanted a straight booking. Like, how do we earn someone's trust to book a call with our team, for them to be qualified, and for us to just spend a bunch of money on ads into the top of this funnel in order to grow our own business? And keep in mind, at the time, we were only running paid advertising. We weren't really doing like a full-blown system. After we figured out ClickFunnels, we took that knowledge, built out an ecosystem around it, and advertised that. Like, that's what we'll do for you. We'll build you a system that is scalable, that generates revenue, and is going to grow your business. Because at the end of the day, when you have the system and you run the ads to the front end, that's how you're able to grow. And through all of this, the book a call funnel, simply a 3-4 page funnel where, like we were just saying, we disqualify individuals. That's really what allowed us to scale. And that's literally what we built for our clients.
Yeah, interesting. And I can see how, with a certain industry or with agency and trying to find the right clients, how doing a book a call funnel really offers the most value to the potential customer, because you're saying, let's have a meaningful conversation. Let's get to know each other. Let's build a relationship and actually see if this is the right fit. And if not, you can disqualify them. But you're putting your best foot forward by having that initial conversation with them, which I think is really great for a business like this. So I have all kinds of questions about your funnel and things like that. But when you started this and you decided to go with a book a call funnel, what was your initial method for driving traffic to it?
I mean, obviously paid ads. So driving traffic to the funnel itself, is that what you're kind of asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we built the funnel and we wanted to push all traffic sources down that funnel. So paid ads was the biggest driver. But ultimately speaking, if you go on our Instagram, which is our biggest platform, you'll see the link is linked to the funnel. Also, a lot of our email marketing is linked to the funnel. So our goal was to eliminate all possible other frictions and then just feed this machine in a sense, so that we don't have any other moving parts that could alter the ecosystem. We want to focus on one thing and improve that one thing by 1%. We typically have a 1% rule within our company. And that's the way we knew it was going to work. If we kept on trying different things, then we're not focused on one system that we can keep on improving consistently. But to answer your question, paid ads is still the biggest driving factor for those conversions.
Awesome. And do you think it was like a mindset shift for you guys? Because I know, Christian, you just mentioned that it really changed when you decided to commit. Like, let's not just use this as a trial. Let's not just like play around and see what sticks, but let's commit to doing this for the long term and see what happens. Like, do you think it was that led you to actually seeing success in the business?
So I would say that is a huge factor, but I would say another thing that is also another thing, and potentially a golden nugget for the audience that's listening to this, that maybe they're trying to figure out how they're going to scale their business to the 2 Comma Club, 2 Comma X, whatever, right? So focus on one funnel, but improve that funnel. I feel like a lot of people, they build out this funnel. They're like, oh, this is the most beautiful funnel I've ever built. It's going to crush it. And then the first day they run ads or traffic or anything, and it doesn't tend to convert, they say, oh, like the funnel doesn't work. But it's more so you didn't really improve on it. You didn't try different headlines. You didn't try different videos. Maybe the color was not the right color. Maybe you weren't speaking to your audience. You weren't calling them out enough. You weren't disqualifying enough, right? So there's all these things that it's physically impossible to simply test everything within 1 month, maybe even 3 months, right? So when you shift your mindset, and that leads to the actions shifting, that's when you're really able to scale with ClickFunnels, because eventually those 1% improvements, I mean, they pile up, you know what I mean? So, and the funnel starts to convert, and then you feel blessed because now you're like, oh, I have the secret funnel, you know, like crushing it. I don't want to tell anybody about it, but then you obviously tell everyone about it because you're so proud of how awesome your work is when it comes to something like this, and you just want to share the knowledge. And that's really exactly what happened with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you touched on that too, because I feel like so many people, especially if they're trying any software for a short time and they want to see success, if they're not able to actually test it or improve on their methods, then they won't really know if it's successful or not. So to actually play the long game and say like, I'm willing to test these headlines, or I want to split test, you know, the color of the button on this. You don't realize like you may not have seen success, but it doesn't mean that you don't have a great offer or a great landing page. It just means that you didn't give it enough time or test it enough to actually see what works. Okay. You had mentioned earlier 2 Comma Club. So tell me a little bit about what brought you to working towards the 2 Comma Club award and a little bit about that journey.
So yeah, I'm gonna dive into that because Amel knows actually like I always looked up to a lot of individuals that already had the 2 Comma Club. So when I got into the industry, I would look up to individuals that even had larger awards than that, like within you guys' organization. And I always thought to myself, wow, like I would be really cool to be recognized for doing something this awesome, right? And for us, it wasn't primarily like we just want to grow the business because we want the 2 comma. For us, it was like we want to grow the business because we want the business to take care of our loved ones, truly, you know, like our family, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, whatever, in order for us to be able to kind of like leave this like race of chasing the next check, right? And really like having the objective of like $1 million, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a number, you know, like is $1 million equal success? I would argue that it's not, right? I would argue that it's more so just honestly like a sexy number, right? More than anything. So, and I feel like what comes with that is also credibility and access to individuals and conversations more so than just the flex, right? Because sure, you get the award, you post it on Instagram, cool, you know? But what comes after that? Who are the individuals you're connecting with that also have the same awards? And those conversations, to me, those conversations are worth another 2 Comma Club award by themselves. You know what I mean? So, and that's really why we wanted to reach this goal. And obviously, we have a second business we're not going to talk about today. It's on its way to the award right after the 2 Comma, right? So we're on our way to the 10 million award in that business within the first 12 months of owning it, which is incredible. And really what we did is we just applied the knowledge that we have from the first one onto the second one and really just copy paste from there.
I love that. And I think that's a great perspective of the 2 Comma Club award isn't just an end goal. It's just another milestone that helps you connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs and get you to the next phase, and that it is no means to an end. But speaking of goals, are there other certain goals that you guys have, over the next 5-10 years for this business?
I mean, we're kind of diving deeper and deeper into our client's journey. As GenTech, if you look up top marketing company in Tampa, we're number 1. But it's ultimately because we're trying to be the best and literally liquidate the negative notions that people have towards marketing companies. Because the level of entry to be a marketer, it's super easy. Anyone can watch a YouTube video and say that they run Facebook ads. Our goal is to really change that trajectory and let companies know that, like, hey, there's actually organizations that care about your business model. And our goal is to change as many lives as we can, because we know even when we're looking to get into business, and both our parents were into business, we understood their struggles. Just because they didn't have a system that they could use and scale, they didn't have a process that they could maybe just hire someone else that could like work for them. My mom used to work, 18-hour days. And I want to eliminate a lot of business. I want to eliminate that concern for a lot of business owners. I feel like the more people that we help, I think my glass gets filled up even more. That's kind of like my ultimate journey with GenTech and everything that we're doing.
Yeah. I find it interesting. You both kind of mentioned what like the American ideals are, like the typical standard for success or even just getting started in your career. You mentioned that you're both foreign. What has it been like? Like, did you move to the States at a young age? Kind of what experience do you have with how Americans look at business versus, what you guys created for yourself?
I mean, I was 8, and then how old were you, Christian, when you moved to the States?
I was 17, which is 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So 7 years ago, something like that.
I mean, I don't think we would have been able to achieve what we did achieve if we stayed, in Bosnia or Lebanon, or even I lived in Germany. Like, I feel like a lot of those countries don't allow you to kind of bounce off the walls too much, where here you have the capability. The question is, do you want to chase it? I feel like a lot of people here are pretty set. They're born here. They have successful parents. They're not worried about money. What do you have those? I came here with a single parent. She was working all day. Like, I didn't have siblings. I didn't have family. Like, I had no other option but to figure it out. And when you have no other option, you keep on trying until you find something that works, where you say, okay, I'm set. Like, I'll be fine. Because I feel like in life, you're more so running away from fear versus chasing happiness. And that's kind of like every step I take in the morning when, like, I wake up and I'm like, okay, it's a new day. I'm just trying to push myself a lot further from that fear of what it was like when we came to the States.
Yeah.
That
I
was
love
deep,
that
bro.
perspective. Yeah, and I imagine that having that experience of being foreign, moving here, you mentioned with a single parent, probably also motivated you even more to create a life that's better, where you can, provide for your family or give back or do the things that maybe your parents or grandparents couldn't do. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, Kristen, you moved here, what, you said 6 years ago?
6 or 7, something along those lines. Yeah, I think it's more so around 7 years.
So what made you, and you said you were going to school, did you graduate pre-med and you just decided I want to do business? Like, you kind of left that bubble of the American dream of chasing the standard collegiate education. What gave you the inspiration or the gumption to just go for it?
I mean, how much time you got? I can tell you all about it.
I love it. These are the stories that people want to hear. Like, this is what's exciting. This is why entrepreneurs decide to actually chase their dream.
Of course. So I'll run you through kind of like a summarized version. Obviously, there was a lot of hiccups. Like, if anybody is a fail forward individual, like, I'll raise my hand. You know what I mean? Because my story, the amount of failures versus the amount of victories, if we were to really plot them on a chart, it would not even be comparable. I think I've failed maybe like 10 to 15 times for every half a win. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I came here. I originally left Lebanon when I was like 13, 14 years old. I lived in Qatar for a little bit. My dad was working over there. And then there was some sort of like economy issues that happened like right after we left. And my dad I always dreamed of coming to the United States. That was always my dream. I was like when I was young, I was like one of the best English speakers in my area because I just wanted to go to the United States, right? Like, I always taught myself these things. I watched all the movies that I could find in English, so and I always wanted to come here. So I was going to come here for university regardless. I was going to figure it out. And that's another entrepreneurial trait, is like jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down, right? Like, move 14,000 miles across the planet. Why? Because I want to do that, right? So, and then eventually my dad actually moved here with me because he wanted me to help me achieve my goal of coming to this country. Now, keep in mind, I genuinely wanted to be a doctor, right? Like, I genuinely wanted that. I genuinely thought I wanted it, I think, is a better perspective on this. And coming here, obviously, with very little, like, what do? You just go through YouTube. How do I make money online, right? And you see all these like people that were my age, right? I was 17 at the time when I came to the States. They have all these like online stores generating good revenue. Now, I didn't understand at the time that most of those stores, even though they're showing gross revenue, they weren't very profitable. But to me, I convinced myself that there is 17-year-olds making $1 million a month. So I was like, can't be that hard. You know what I mean? Like, Like I just want 1% of that. I want 10K a month. And Amel remembers, because for me, 10K a month was like that number, right? Like when you hit 10K a month, now you can relax. Now you can afford your own rent. You can afford your own car, all that kind of thing. So I really thrived for that. And I did all the drop shipping, probably more than 20 stores. And the problem is like I was mentioning before, I had the shiny object syndrome. It's like I would build something, I would do so good, I would completely forget like about marketing as if it didn't exist. And I would wonder why I have no sales, right? And eventually there came a time where all my credit cards were maxed out, right? I had 14K credit card limit. And that's funny enough, because like that's like right around the time I met Amel as well. And I had no money in my debit card. Like literally I would go to the gas station, my card would get rejected, and I didn't even have the audacity to go inside and try to fill up my card, right? Because like I had literally nothing to my name. And there came a time where, and the reason I say this story is to preface the next part, which is the sense of urgency. I think that is the most important skill an entrepreneur can have, is since my rent was due in, I think it was a week or 10 days or something like that. And I had literally no money. I couldn't even pay with my credit cards if I wanted to. I already tried to get a credit limit to pay my rent. They didn't give me an increase. So I was like, what is the one skill that I know that I can charge money for? And it was the paid advertising at the time, right? So I sat down and I started calling all these local businesses. I don't want to make it super dramatic and tell you it happened like the day before, 3 hours before my rent that I got paid, but it was the week of. And it was the first time that I had a business not go in the red, because with online stores, e-commerce, you would always have to build a store, pay Shopify, do this, do that, eventually maybe invest in ads before you get your first purchase, right? So you'd always go in the red, back to the green, and then you would fluctuate around those. But with this new business where I just did advertising for other individuals, it was the first time that I made $2,000 by just convincing someone that I was the right fit for them and I was going to help them. Now, keep in mind, I was genuinely going to help them because I actually knew what I was doing. But it was really that sense of urgency that pushed me over the edge. And when I saw what I was able to do for that individual, I was like, so I won't just change my life, but I can also change the lives of others by doing something that is kind of easy to me because it makes sense. I was like, this is my business. This is the perfect business model for me. And that's when I decided to go all in and find people that are doing similar things. And that's how I found Amel, is through social media. And funny enough, we've been partners for 3 years and hopefully for the rest of forever, right? Like business partners. He always likes to clarify that. So nevertheless, I mean, that's really the story. And fun fact, yes, we're out of debt for sure. So
yeah, wow. And it's really powerful. I think that, like you, most of the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who are vulnerable enough to share their stories and what it was like to feel like you're at rock bottom. And when you can open up about that, I think that is what helps people trust you in the process, because you are creating impact based on what you saw change and turn your life around, and you want to provide that for others. And I think that is what, and it's probably one of the reasons that your book, A Call Funnel, works so well, is like you're able to have those conversations up front, which I think is a powerful thing. And you sharing that story probably just resonates with so many people who are either entrepreneurs or they're potential clients that are like, I need to do more with what I have, and something needs to be done. Something needs to be done so that I can move forward and actually grow and do something. And I do think a lot of it is mindset shift, but also you'd mentioned like you had no money in your account. You had to do something. You fall back like on what is the one skill that I can teach? I think so many people have that tool in their toolkit. They're just not yet using it.
So, I mean, I totally agree. I think everything happens for a reason. All these failed dropshipping stores where they losses or lessons. I mean, it came to the point where I was literally selling clothes out of the trunk of my car so I could buy my girlfriend flowers, because I believed at the time, like, that's the girl of my dreams. Like, I want to marry this girl. And yesterday was our 4-year anniversary, right? So she was with me from then to today. And that shows you how, like, you're able to change someone else's life as well by just being in their surrounding. And that makes me extremely happy. And I feel like that really pushes me forward. That's like a fuel, motivation for us. I mean, same thing with Amel. Amel's mom is Obviously, like when Amel said he came here with a single mom, Amel's mom is pretty much retired now because Amel takes care of everything, right? Me watching that makes me extremely proud of him. That makes me feel like, wow, like I am with the right people. And that's really what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's those personal stories that are so profound too, because you mentioned having being in a relationship with somebody who was there when times were hard and who's with you now, and like you know that you can count on those people because they were there for you through all of it. And just like Amel, you being there with your mom who is a single parent, which I don't know how any single parent does it, to be honest with you. And moving to the States doing that, I'm sure gives you so much more to work for and to strive for. And I think that that's really cool. So I commend you guys for what you've done, the journey you've been on, and kind of stepping outside of the bubble of standard expectations here and creating something impactful and being successful in doing that. And I think that that's really great. So thank you for sharing that story. One last thing before I go into where people can learn more about your business. What would you guys say is like the most impactful piece of advice you could give to a fellow entrepreneur?
I mean, for me, it's just them realizing that I like to say that life is a video game. Just because I like to say that whatever you want to do or achieve or be in this life, you can really do it. It all depends on how hard are you willing to, strive towards it, because you might have to break down some walls. You might have to change some like laws and policies and procedures. It all depends on how big your dream is, but everything's doable because everything that we have in this life right now was created by someone that had an idea someday. So even for us, like, we had a vision and we're literally doing everything that we need to in order to keep on like building towards that vision. So that's kind of my takeaway for it.
That's great. Christian, any advice from you?
Yeah, absolutely. And Amel can even vouch for the fact that this is my desktop background. This quote, it's the reason like I was able to change my life entirely and turn it 180 degrees. It's simply, and I think it's the issue that everybody that has these ideas and aspirations that stops them from hitting their goal. It's, and I quote, don't be a slave to your mood, right? And that's really what it is you wake up late, you wake up at like 9:30 instead of the 5 a.m. you wanted to wake up, or the 6 a.m. or the 7 a.m. And you're like, it's okay, right? You waste a lot of time. You don't really have a lot of deep work. It's okay, I'll do it tomorrow, right? And that mood that you're in, like if you feel like working, success is not very attracted to something like this, right? So I believe that success is looking actively for other candidates to join it, right? And it's going to vet you, because that's the thing is you can lie to people. You can't lie to yourself, right? You know the truth. You know whether you're actually working or not. And you know whether or not you're being a slave to your mood. So if you let your mood overpower you, success is not really interested in something like that.
Yeah. So much wisdom from such young, successful entrepreneurs. Thank you for sharing that. I'm really inspired by you guys and what you've done in your short time of being here and in being in business, and seeing, I'm excited to see where you're going to go. Where can people learn more about you guys and your business?
So IG is the best platform for both of us. Mine is at Amel Kilich, so AmelKilist. And then the business one is GenTech Marketing on IG, and then obviously the website is www.gentechmarketing.com. And then for Christian, IG at Christian Jamal. So those will be the best platforms for us.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. It was great to learn more about your story and your success. Will I see you at Funnel Hacking Live this year?
We're definitely going to be there.
Play it out, but we're planning on being there.
Great. I look forward to that. Thank you guys again. I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you for having us, Laura.
Thank you.